Welcome back to Hobby Universe Outdoors. I'm Len, and today we're going to be talking about traction. A lot of what I'm going to talk about will apply to several makes and models of garden tractors, but one item in particular will be specific to the Deere X500 series. What we're going to talk about are weights for the rear of the tractor and what your options are there. I'm going to talk a little bit about the tire chains and what my experience has been with those. We're going to talk about tire options because you do have a few choices with that. And the one item that is going to be specific to the Deere X500 series tractor is going to have to do with that rear differential lock that these things come standard with. I had a question regarding that differential lock and part of its operation. I just couldn't find the answer I was looking for online. So towards the end of the video, I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment and show you what my question was and in the end what the results are. Let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is going to be adding weight to the back of the tractor. For me, the suitcase weights like these are going to be the way to go. It's just my preference, and there's going to be a couple of reasons for that. One reason is how easy they are to take off and put back on. They simply hang from the bracket on the back of the tractor. So literally inside of a minute, I could have these removed or put back on. Super simple, easy to store. That's a good thing for me. Another reason I like them is because if they're not on this tractor, I can actually use them on another tractor. I have a subcompact utility tractor as well. I can use these weights on there as needed on the front or the back of that, so they're very versatile. Now, I will say that these are on my tractor almost all winter, and that's because the snowblower that I run is very heavy. And with the weight of that snowblower pushing down on the front of the tractor, it'll actually make the rear of the tractor a little bit light. And, so in addition to snow or maybe ice giving you poor traction, well, now you're lifting the rear end of the tractor up. That's no good. Putting these weights on here makes a huge, huge difference. Another option you have is going to be with wheel weights. And exactly what they sound like, they are weights that bolt to the inside of the wheel, and those add weight to the back of the tractor. There's a couple reasons I don't like those. One is that I feel that the weight could rub against the wheel, and as it does that, it's going to rub off some of the finish of the wheel, and then you could end up with some rust. Also, that wheel weight, I feel, is going to trap moisture around it and even behind it, again, possibly introducing the opportunity for rust. I don't want that to happen. I want to take care of my stuff. Another reason I'm not really a huge fan is they're not as easy to take on and off. While it's not a huge deal, I think you probably just use your socket wrench and extension to break them loose. It's a lot more work when compared to the suitcase weights and just hanging them on that bracket. Also, the way things usually work, I would probably put the wheel weights here and the hardware over here and forget where the hardware is and not be able to put them on the following year. But anyway, wheel weights are definitely an option, just not a good one for me. Another option you have to add weight to the back of the tractor is going to be adding fluid to the rear tires. Now, there is a product specifically made for that. It's called Rim Guard, and it is quite literally beet juice. When they process beets, the byproduct is this juice that they can't use in food products. So Rim Guard turns it into a weight, and you put that in the rear tires of the tractor. A couple of reasons that's a good option. One is that it's environmentally friendly, so if you happen to rupture the tire or the tire comes off the bead of the wheel, and it spills out into a stream or something, it's not going to harm the environment, so that's a plus. The Rim Guard is heavier than water. Water is about 8.5 pounds per gallon. The Rim Guard is somewhere between 10 and 11 pounds per gallon, and it's not corrosive. So if you use antifreeze, windshield washer fluid, those are a few of the other things I've heard of people using, those things can corrode the wheel from the inside out. Obviously not a good thing. Rim Guard is not corrosive. By the way, I'm not affiliated with Rim Guard. I have no deal with them. It's just something I've used on my larger subcompact utility tractor, and I'm a fan. But for this, it just doesn't make sense because it's not something that I'm going to be able to easily remove and put back in depending on the season. Once it's in, I'm kind of stuck with it. So it's not an option for me. One option for traction on this tractor that I will never be without again when it comes to snow is going to be tire chains. I've always run tire chains with the snowblower. I've done it forever, and I always knew it made a difference, but I didn't realize how much of a difference until this year. First snow this year, I took the tractor across the road to do the neighbor a favor, kind of get his driveway cleaned out for him. It's on a little bit of a slope. It was a heavy, wet snow. Had the snowblower on, Didn't have time to put the chains on, figured I'll be fine, no problem, right? Went over, got stuck almost immediately on that slope. Had to use my other tractor to pull this thing out. Once I got it out, I put the tire chains on, went to the exact same spot where I got stuck. Zero issues once I had the tire chains on. Absolutely a game changer. I'm not going to get caught without them again when I'm out blowing snow. Made a huge difference. As much as I love and appreciate the tire chains, one thing I don't like about them is the installation. It is just a hassle. There are a few different ways you can do it, a couple little tricks here and there that you can do, but in all honesty, I don't think one way is really that much better or worse than any other way of doing it. Regardless of the method you use, to me at least, it's still a drag to do it. I fight my way through it. I just don't enjoy it. One other thing to consider when you're thinking about traction on your tractor is going to be the style of tire that you have. You're going to have a few different options. For something like this, you could get a turf tire, and that's going to serve you well if all you're doing is mowing grass and everything's pretty much flat and dry. A turf tire might be good enough for you. I end up in the woods from time to time pulling my wagon, getting firewood. Sometimes there's some mud involved, things like that. So this HDAP tire serves me well. HDAP, HDAP stands for Heavy Duty All Purpose, and it's a fairly aggressive knobby design, and it's really done a good job for me. I've been in the mud with it. I've climbed some hills, where the grass is a little bit wet and it might be a little bit slippery. They've done a good job for me there. And at the same time, they've not damaged my yard. So even though it's a fairly aggressive tread pattern, it doesn't hurt my yard at all. So that's important. And you could also get a more of an agricultural type tire where you've got that V-tread, something like what you would see on a standard farm tractor. Something like that. You can actually get those in this size that would fit this tractor. But for me, that's a little too aggressive. I don't need anything that aggressive. I'm not doing anything crazy with it. So again, this HDAP tire, for me at least, was the way to go. The last thing I want to talk about regarding traction on these tractors is going to be the rear locking differential. And that's something that is standard on the X500 series tractors, as well as some other models, John Deere garden tractors. What that does is that'll lock the rear differential, doubling the amount of traction you get. So if you notice that one of your tires is spinning, whether you're stuck in the mud a little bit or you're trying to go up a hill and you notice just one tire is spinning, if you hit that pedal on the left side, that locks that rear differential, that rear axle, and it gives both tires the same amount of power at the same time, doubling the amount of traction you have. It's been my experience that in most cases, that'll get me out of trouble. That's really handy to have. My question was whether or not that was a forward-only function or if that differential lock worked in forward and reverse. So I'm doing a little bit of a test here just to kind of see what happens, and that's what we're going to do now. So for the experiment, I hooked the tractor to my pickup truck, and now I'm just going to try to go forward without pushing on that posi button. And you'll see just the one tire is going to spin. So I don't have very good traction there. I'm not able to move. We're going to try the same thing, but now we're going to push down on that orange button. We're going to try it again, and now you're going to see both tires are going to spin. They're both getting the same amount of power, so that's really going to dramatically increase the amount of traction we have. Now we're going to do the same thing in reverse now. I've got the front of the tractor tied to the pickup truck. We're going to try to go backward, and now that one tire is going to spin. I'll reach down with my left foot. I will push in on that orange button to lock the rear diff, and as I was hoping, both rear tires do spin. They both get the same amount of traction in reverse in posi, so that's a good thing. So with that little experiment, we actually accomplished a few different things. First, it allowed me to better explain what I was talking about with that one tire spinning and then engaging the posi traction and then getting traction to both tires equally and at the same time, hopefully getting you out of whatever trouble you've gotten yourself into. It also allowed me to prove to myself that the posi traction works in reverse as well as forward. I thought that was the case, couldn't say for sure. Now I can. And the final item, a little bit of a bonus, I guess. I had fun doing it, silly things like that or experimenting. I actually get a kick out of it, so a bonus on that one. If you have any comments regarding the traction on these tractors or similar models, make sure you leave that down in the comments. I really do enjoy hearing from you guys. That's going to do it. That's my take on the traction regarding the John Deere X500 series garden tractors. If you're not already a subscriber and you like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for taking the time to watch. I appreciate it. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day.